The most interesting thing about this game is you and I had a discussion about is are we going with a tie or no tie in this programme?
It was ugly.
I literally was falling asleep. Yeah. I'm telling you, honestly, and I mean this in all sincerity, I wouldn't open the curtains to watch either of these two teams. I really wouldn't. And look, Everton just had to get a result, which they did, to keep their fight for the top four on. If you think they're going to make it, I personally don't. And Arsenal, and I think I heard Jim Proudfoot say on the Worldfeed commentary we were listening to that that's the most games they've lost at home in one season since 1930. You know, and you had, if you want a side just to roll over and so you can tickle their belly, it's Arsenal, isn't it? And you know, to be quite frank with you, yeah, they had a bit of a better spell in the second half. Leno makes a mistake. He can't legislate for that, but he makes too many mistakes, in my opinion. And they're a side near the middle of the table for Arsenal Football Club. That is just not good enough.
Stevie, Arsenal as bad as Craig's making them out to be?
100%. But I think the more worrying thing is the fact that Everton have got a chance of getting in the top four because they weren't any better than Arsenal. At least Arsenal at the start of this game were pushing forward as if they had something to play for. Everton did absolutely nothing. I mean, it looked like they were the ones on the beach. So, yes, Arsenal were poor, but my goodness, I'm not so sure where I stand when I think if Everton get in the top four, this side gets in the top four, I'm not sure it says too much about the Premier League, to be honest.
Craig, they're only 3 points out of the top four.
Yeah, but I've seen them play like that a lot this season, and they've lost a lot of games against weaker teams that they shouldn't. That's the double over Arsenal, by the way. That tells you about Arsenal. But look, when you've got Rodriguez, you've got Richarlison, you've got Calvert-Lewin's pace, you've got Sigurdsson in the team, Gylfi Sigurdsson. These are all what you would call attack-minded players, right? And yet we'll still see it's 3 points. I understand, but it's still a very defensive-minded performance. Yeah, he's missing Doucouré in the middle of the park. I get that, but look, I don't think Everton will get in the top four, so I don't think we have that concern. They're just not two very good teams to watch. And let me tell you about Arsenal. And I know we'll get to the fans outside the ground, but Josh Kroenke this week, as part of this Super League debacle, part of his statement to the fans, he said, well, Arsenal didn't want to miss out in the Super League if it came along, and, all that missed the train sort of rhetoric that's been thrown out there. Because people around the globe, they want to see Arsenal play, Barcelona more often. No, they don't. No, they don't. Nobody wants to see Arsenal play Barcelona at this moment in time because Arsenal can't beat the riffraff in the Premier League. So, that is just how out of touch some of these, and I know Kroenke's the son of, Josh Kroenke's the son of Stan Kroenke, the owner. That's how out of touch these people are. Oh, the fans who want to see Arsenal, Barcelona. No, they just want you to see you running this club properly. A club that moved to this Emirates Stadium to be amongst the elite of European football again. Not amongst the sort of dregs of the Premier League, playing in that manner with a squad like the way they have, with the recruitment decisions that they've made. That's what people want to see improved, not we'll play Barcelona and that's going to make everything better. I mean, it's just absolute, balderdash.
Jules, we know the off-field can be a distraction. Also, Europa League clearly the priority for this Arsenal squad. They're missing some big pieces today. Should we give them any type of pass?
I mean, the season has been a pass, really, to be fair. So, of course, I don't think the protest outside the ground helped. I don't think the game against Villarreal in midweek coming, because that's clearly the priority, helped either. Plus all the players, as you said, missing, no Lacazette, no Aubameyang, no Tierney, no Odegaard. And they are big players, key players in that team. Some of the ideas on the pitch were good. The problem is the lack of talent. I mean, the lack of quality in that team in certain position is so obvious that you could have all the good ideas that you want and good manager. on the pitch, what they do is just not enough. And that was, again, I think tonight sums up very much the Arsenal season. On the pitch, off the pitch as well, with the tensions, with the issues between the ownership, the fans, etc. Plus on the pitch as well, the fact that they've been very inconsistent. Of course, they're capable of good results, and we saw that against some of the top teams, home and away, and some really poor results, like against Fulham. And again today, and VAR didn't help, of course, today, because that call on the penalty is a call that if it's someone far more competent than David Coote as the VAR referee, I think that's not given as an offside, and it's a penalty, and it might be a different story. But again, you can't hide behind VAR. It was just not good enough from Arsenal again tonight.
Well,
before I get back, Seb, isn't it amazing, right? We're sitting here, and yes, what Jules has just said is correct. All 4 big pieces of the puzzle have been missing: Odegaard and Tierney and Lacazette and Aubameyang. But guess what? You know, with those 4 big pieces, they're still in 9th place. So I don't know who's kidding who. This just is not a good team, and it's not a good squad. And the so-called big pieces, well, they ain't pulling the rest along. That's for sure.
Craig?
Well, Odegaard, come on, at least played some part. I mean, if you're, with all respect, if you're relying on a loan signing,
yeah, exactly. If you're relying on the likes of him and Lacazette, who actually at the start of this season we thought wouldn't even be there. Tierney's been a surprise how influential he's been, and Aubameyang started the season awfully as well. So it's just not a good side, and if we try and paint it anything else, then we're not telling the truth.
I saw an interview after the game with the local broadcaster. Oh, sorry. I saw an interview after the game that was from before the game, looking back about, interviewing the players when they arrived, interviewing Arteta about the fans outside protesting. I don't know how many there were, a few thousand at most. Wasn't like 50,000, but it was more than like 50 or 100. And how troublesome was that, because you had to leave, all this sort of cotton wool stuff. Well, you had to leave a bit early to get to the ground because of the fans. Wow. And how will that affect you, and how will that, and has that hindered you? But I mean, forget that. I tell you what what would be worse? 50,000 plus inside the Emirates howling at that garbage. Every second week. That would be worse. Let me tell you. A few thousand, a couple of thousand, whatever it is, fans outside the ground protesting at the ownership has no bearing whatsoever on how these players perform on the field. Let's just nail that. Let's nail that on the head. That isn't the problem. There's a huge problem going forward for Arteta here. One, he has to win the Europa League now for Champions League football, but really and truly, what difference does it make? Because they'll go in the Champions League, get a few quid, get knocked out because they're not good enough. The problem is long-term recruitment, right? And if he goes into next season without anything tangible on that side of things, he's screwed. He's screwed with this team. Now, that's not to say he's totally not at fault by selection and the rest of it, because he's a young manager and he's learning the game, and he might be out his depth. We'll find that out. But this recruitment at Arsenal is not helping. This ownership at Arsenal is not helping. If any of these big Super League teams, if any of the ownership, and they're all crying around certain parts of Europe and England about changing ownership, if anybody needs a change in ownership, trust me, to go forward, it's this club, it's Arsenal.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.